Unbelievable. Caitríona Balfe breaks silence about her 24-hour emergency surgery. Sam is shocked. The moment of realization. Caitríona Balfe never thought she would face a press conference like this. Not to promote a new film, not to talk about powerful roles, nor to share beauty tips like so many other times. This time, the flashbulbs were not because she was a star, but because she was a person who had just passed through death's door. The room was dead silent. Everyone was looking at her, the cold eyes of reporters, the concerned eyes of loyal fans, and in the front row, Sam Heughan. He was staring at her, as if he still couldn't believe she was actually standing there, alive. Still talking, still smiling, albeit a weak smile, reeking of antibiotics and saline. Caitríona gripped the microphone, her hand shaking slightly. She inhaled, exhaled, and began. I can't keep quiet anymore. A wave of whispers rippled through the room. 3 weeks ago, I had emergency surgery that lasted 24 hours. No one knew, except my family, the doctor, and Sam. Sam bowed her head, clenching her fists. Someone else in the back of the room burst into tears. At first, I thought I was just exhausted. Long shooting schedules, not enough sleep, eating poorly, the normal things in this profession. But then one morning, I couldn't get out of bed. She paused. The pain seemed to return in her throat. Beneath her white silk blouse, the surgical wound was still throbbing. I was rushed to the hospital with acute kidney failure, with sepsis. Everything happened so fast, my vital signs were plummeting. They had to do a combined C-section, treat the infection, filter my blood, and keep my heart beating. Her voice choked. I was clinically dead for 7 minutes. A shock ripped through the room. Sam raised his head, his eyes red. He stood up, walked onto the stage, and stood next to her, not saying a word. Just standing there. Sam was the first person I saw when I woke up. He was with me for 24 hours. Never leaving my side. Caitríona looked at him, and he never forced me to tell this story. But today, I choose to tell it, because I owe it to myself, and I owe it to those who live in silence like I did. The room exploded with applause, but also tears. 24 hours without sleep. Sam Heughan still remembers the night it all started. She called him at 2:17 a.m., just 2 words, help. There was no explanation. Not a line from a scene. It was a raspy, dry, desperate gasp that sent chills down his spine. He threw the phone in the backseat and drove like a rocket to Caitríona's apartment. On the way, he thought she had fainted from lack of sleep, from overwork, but when he saw her, half slumped over the dining table, pale, sweating and unable to speak, everything inside him went haywire. At the hospital, 3 minutes after entering the emergency room, the medical team went red. We need to get her into surgery now. Sam nodded vigorously, not understanding what was going on. He wasn't a legal relative, he couldn't sign the papers, but the way he shouted at the receptionist, I'm the only person she called at 2 a.m. I'll be here until she gets out of there, made everyone quiet down and move aside. A young doctor stepped forward, put his hand on Sam's shoulder. We suspect a rapidly spreading infection in her blood. She's showing signs of septic shock and multiple organ failure. This is going to be a long surgery, possibly involving multiple specialists. How long? Sam asked, his voice choking. At least 18 hours, maybe 24. He stood there, in the middle of the cold, white hallway, in his hoodie from the studio. He held his phone but didn't call anyone. He didn't know what to say. Didn't know what he was going to lose. The first 12 hours were hell. Sam didn't sleep, didn't eat, just sitting still, occasionally getting up, walking around like a prisoner. He had played soldiers, heroes, even warriors of old. But he had never felt so weak. He could not fight the virus, nor could he take her place on the operating table. He could only pray and wait. At the 19th hour, the chief surgeon came out with a haggard face. "We lost her." Within 7 minutes, Sam swayed, almost collapsing. But the doctor managed to continue. "Her heart stopped, but we successfully shocked her back. She's stable. She's still in danger, but we brought her back." When he first saw Caitríona after the surgery, she was still lying motionless, her body covered in IVs. But her heart was still beating. Her chest was still heaving. Sam sat beside her, holding her hand, whispering, "You are the most stubborn woman I have ever known." His voice trailed off. And his tears fell. For the first time in years, when Caitríona woke up, the white light, the antiseptic smell, and the sounds of machinery echoed as if from another world. She thought she was dreaming. But then, she saw Sam. His head was down by the bed. Her hand was still in his, and in that moment, she knew. She was still alive, and there was something more important than the role, the fame, the camera lights.